referee, Ramon Peña.
Ok, muchachos, ustedes reciben las instrucciones en su esquina. Recuerden respetar mis comandos y protegerse en todo momento. Choquemos guantes y que Dios les bendiga a ambos.
Well, Javier Fortuna says he hopes these two friends can go out for dinner after this one, but first we've got the appetizer. We've got to fight.
Yeah, we do. Ain't no friendship here now. It's all business.
And Fortuna coming in at nearly a full weight class too heavy for this one, but the bout will go ahead nonetheless. Alfredo Santiago, born in the Dominican Republic, but has made Fajardo his home. You heard the ovation for him. And Santiago looking to add another big name to his resume tonight.
Fortuna is coming in aggressively, and that is what Ocampo did in the last fight that you guys announced. It didn't go well for him.
No, it didn't.
We'll see if the same thing happens here.
Fortuna out of the southpaw stance. Santiago using his jab, using his movement. Surprisingly, I'm very surprised that Fortuna is being aggressive at times.
Well, some of that could have to do with the weight. Maybe he doesn't feel like he could box and go into those later rounds. We'll find out. Santiago told us plainly, if he stays in front of me, I'll knock him out. We'll see.
Yeah, Santiago said he doesn't think that this one is going to go long. Fortuna, always very expressive in the ring.
Well, less is more. He shook his head no. Sorry.
Yeah, these two spend a lot of time training with one another back in the Dominican Republic. As Claudia pointed out, they sort of lost contact over the years, but they still should be very familiar with one another's habits as Santiago tries to once again target that midsection of Javier Fortuna.
Santiago is a very good puncher, right-hand puncher, but against Ocampo, he showed a really good left hook, and that might well be Ryan Garcia knocked Fortuna down with the left hook, so we'll see if we see that punch more from Santiago. There's one to the body.
Yeah, and one thing, Al, we saw in that Campa fight is Santiago could be dangerous punching even as he's backing out,
right.
which makes him very, very dangerous with that length.
He just found his range. There were some solid shots that I'm sure Fortuna felt. But Fortuna landed an overhand left over the top.
Yeah, sneaky little right hook as well.
Fortuna has, throughout his career, he's scored knockdowns, he's scored knockouts. He has shown himself to be dangerous, but at lower weights. We're up here at 140 and plus for him now.
Down go both men. That is a dangerous tackle. Santiago nearly landing on his head. Fortuna taking a hard fall as well.
3rd and 10.
Closing moments of round one.
I'm so sorry.
It's your broadcast anniversary. You can do whatever you want.
I'm sorry. I couldn't resist.
A little bit of a messy opening round here between Alfredo Santiago and Javier Fortuna.
You know, Santiago credits Nelson Adams Jr. with, he's had that great run since the Nunez loss. He credits him a lot for doing better.
Nelson Adams now, of course, the lead trainer of Subriel Matias as well, who we'll see in our main event. Matias leaving the Panda Najar camp, coming back home here to Fajardo, as we mentioned. Santiago, Nestor Bravo, who we saw in our last fight, and Matias training together for this one. And there we see Santiago again, punching while backing out.
I'm so surprised that Fortuna is bringing it to him. But for how long is he going to bring it to him? We don't know. I mean, he's not cut. I mean, he looks flabby on his stomach, you know, that extra weight. Maybe that's the reason why he's not giving a movement. Maybe he's going to try to go for broke for 3 or 4 rounds, 4 rounds. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
It just, you know, I don't think he needs to stand there and trade with Santiago.
This right hand down the middle there from Santiago, and another one.
You can feel a counter right hand coming from Santiago as Fortuna lunges in. And he's trying it.
Santiago's backing up, you know, because like we said, he punches very well backing up too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ground for Fortuna to cover to get past that reach advantage of Santiago, and again, his prowess in terms of throwing power shots off the back foot. Santiago just trying to find his timing on one of those shots.
Now, you know, 2 fights ago when he fought Robbie Davies over in Ireland, Fortuna was effective in that fight, even though he lost a very, very close decision. And in spots, his aggressiveness was very good, and he landed some straight left hands. So, you know, he's capable of that, but there's a nice left from him.
Good left hand there from Fortuna. Again, initiating these exchanges. The crafty veteran who entered the pro ranks with an amateur record of 196-16.
That's pretty good.
And the footwork issues persist here tonight.
Another pair of new shoes, maybe?
Perhaps.
Oh, nice uppercut. Look,
Beautiful right hand there from Santiago, and now he starts to put them together in the center of the ring.
That's that combination punching that I was talking about, Santiago. Once he gets going, he's non-stop.
And here he goes, Fortuna.
Fortuna trying to tuck behind that lead shoulder. He lands a good left hand. Well, this is a risky situation for Fortuna, who is begging Santiago on. And we will head to the corner at the end of round 2.
A lot to unpack from that last round, especially from the final sequence. Santiago landing, he landed that nice right hand, and then he continued on. Here, this will be the last part of that round. Big right hands coming from Santiago. And the interesting thing is, while he got this great run going, right at the end of the round, Fortuna landed some really good counter punches. We'll see if that turns things a little bit.
Round 3 underway. The crafty veteran, Javier Fortuna, again, who is plenty familiar with his opponent here tonight. In some ways, defying expectations given how he looked at the weigh-in and given how drastically he missed the weight.
Well, here's the thing about the way Fortuna's fighting here. He's here to compete. You know, we don't always see Javier Fortuna this kind of aggression.
Yes.
You know, it may be born out of desperation, but guess what? He's trying to win this fight.
Just landed a nice left hand to the body. Well, and listen, speaking of veteran maneuvers you could pull, if you're Fortuna and you knew that making 140 was going to be a titanic struggle and would deplete you physically, if you can get away with just blowing weight drastically, go for it.
That's happened a lot lately in big fights, yeah.
That's what he probably ended up doing.
That might be the case.
You're right, Corey.
Well, you know, he failed to make weight years ago against Robert Easter when he could have, with a chance to win the lightweight title. Very close fight, and ended up being he lost decision, so he wouldn't have won the title in any case had he won the fight. So obviously not making weight is not without precedent for him.
A lot of holding in the inside by Fortuna, but he comes right back.
Nice right hand there from Santiago as he falls to the inside.
The interesting thing about this round is right at the end of that round, it almost looked like Fortuna was really in some serious trouble, but he's been able, with the round, with the minute rest and getting himself back into it, he's been able to get past that.
I think I see a little bit of swelling on Fortuna's right eye, I believe.
And he just had his head popped back with a nice sharp right hand there from Santiago right down the middle.
I mean, he's taking some pretty solid shots from Santiago so far. And Fortuna landed some left hands too, because Santiago backs up with his chin up in the air. That's not a good thing when you back up with your chin back up in the air. You gotta tuck that chin in. One step back, then circle, move to the right or to the left. The reason Santiago does that is he's so tall. See, he just did it again. He backs up with his chin up. Stay low. He's got to stay low.
This is only the fifth fight for Fortuna in the 140-pound division. He's 3-1, you know, in this division. So it's not, you know, even though he came in so much overweight, but he hasn't been in this division a long time.
He's testing one of the potential sleepers in this division, and Alfredo Santiago here tonight.
And there are so many of those, aren't there?
There are
140.
Well, the nightmare returns as KSI resumes his rivalry with Dylan Dennis at X Series 21. Coming off a controversial loss to Tommy Fury in Manchester at the end of 2023, KSI looks to return to his winning ways live on DAZN March 29th at the AO Arena in Manchester, England. It's round 4 now underway. Two Dominican-born fighters going at it during Dominican Independence Week. Alfredo Santiago and Javier Fortuna.
And of course, Santiago now here in Puerto Rico, where he has so many fans.
See Santiago touching with the jab. Nice explosive right hand right there.
Yeah,
Santiago, right hand.
Yeah, and Raul, Santiago holding his ground a lot more here in this round. His posture has changed.
He's getting comfortable. It's the fourth round. Finding the range, finding the distance. It takes some time. I mean, he's fighting a veteran, a guy that's been there with some good fighters, is experienced. He's, you know, that's experience right there. That's using dirty tactics, veteran tactics. What Fortuna is doing right there. Trying to stop his momentum. His rhythm by holding on to him and just smothering his shots. They're tricky, and then he's short. You know, he's getting underneath Santiago, and it makes it hard. You know, it could be frustrating. You can't lose it at times.
Yeah, no one will ever accuse Javier Fortuna of being not crafty. He is, in the dictionary, his picture will appear next to that word.
Well, it's interesting, again, going back to that hypothesis that maybe Fortuna is trying to conserve energy given the weight problems. Raul, as you know, one way that you can conserve energy sometimes is by just being the guy who's walking forward. You can expend less energy just kind of framing up, walking towards Santiago. Fortuna's not throwing a ton.
No, very
true. He can conserve energy this way.
Yeah, you're right. You know, he doesn't have to be on his toes. He doesn't have to use the whole ring. He's just coming forward. He's covering up. He's using dirty tactics. When Santiago catches him, he holds on to him, and he's still holding on.
In this round, Fortuna has been able to get on the inside and do some work. It's made this round, Corey used the word messy a couple of rounds ago. He's made this one a little bit of a messy round, which may benefit him.
I think Santiago needs to turn that right hand. He peppers with the jab. He keeps throwing that right hand. He needs to come up with an uppercut with the right hand. When, bait him in with that jab. Because he's coming, he's there, Fortuna's there for that uppercut, for that right uppercut.
Santiago used that against Fierro very effectively in winning that fight. And by the way, winning that fight more convincingly than Isaac Cruz did against Angel Fierro.
Again, going back to the depth that exists in this division, as the seconds tick away here in round 4. Not the explosive performance we saw out of Santiago last time out.
It surprises me, right? I mean, Corey, how big did he look? He looked so strong. He just ran Campa out of there, a guy that was very durable and fought some good opponents.
We take a look at some of the junior welterweights in the hunt here tonight. Of course, we'll see Matias and Valenzuela in our main event. Alfredo Santiago in this bout right here. Al, you talked about this off the top. These are 3 of maybe, what, like 30, 140 pounders that could be a factor in some way?
Literally, some might hear what you said and say that's hyperbole. It's not. There are at least 30 fighters that you can put on there and say, hey, there's somebody that could make a noise in the 140-pound division. And Nestor Bravo would have liked to have seen his picture there, but, now, after tonight, he takes a step back.
Well, hey, suddenly Olasani and Donjeni is relevant again after our most recent fights. You can add another one to the pile.
Yep, right, that's right. Add him in.
Round 5 now begins. Again, a lot of mutual respect, a lot of familiarity between these two. Maybe playing a factor in how this one has looked thus far.
Good point. Very interesting point.
Santiago landed like 3 consecutive uppercuts. No power, but he caught him.
Yeah.
Caught his attention.
And he did that, laying that punch a lot against Fierro. Fierro is an attacker like that, and he comes in, makes himself vulnerable to that punch, and because we saw Cruz landed against him as well. And Santiago was able to get more behind the punch, which he hasn't yet in this fight.
I feel that every time Santiago lands a halfway decent shot or a pretty good shot, and Javier Fortuna feels those shots, he grabs them right away. With Campa, when Campa went down and he felt he got back up and he went toe-to-toe with Santiago instead of grabbing him and holding him. And that was the mistake I believe that Campa did.
Yeah,
and Fortuna showing his veteran skills again.
Right, and I don't want to say that there's a reluctance necessarily on Santiago's part to throw those hard shots, but we haven't really seen him fully commit to some of those power shots we saw him throw against Campa.
I don't see him because Fortuna is not giving him the right range at times. He offsets somebody. That's where it's got to be right there. And be both consistent. Let them go, let them fly. See, Fortuna's not able to grab him anymore. Stay in the right range. Don't get too close, but don't be too far away. Right there. And look at Fortuna's eye from that right hand.
Yeah, that eye is closing, and quickly, and that left hook won't help matters. That might be the best shot of the fight from Santiago.
And look, you see Santiago, he really is controlling that range now, Corey. He's popping that jab, he takes a step back, throws a right hand. Fortuna's not there to catch him. He's at the right distance right there. And now you see Fortuna backing up, and he's asking him for.
And interestingly, Claudia reports that in the Santiago camp, they feel like this fight's going to end soon. They felt it before this round. They didn't think Fortuna was in the condition to go much longer.
Santiago has a much meaner look on his face right now as he starts to creep forward and place these power shots to the head and body of Javier Fortuna.
Tell you what, this was a really good round for Santiago. It looks like he's slowly breaking the veteran.
Santiago getting the right hand around the guard of Fortuna. It was a round in which he landed power punches, both the right and the left hook. The right eye closing, and there's the hook that I alluded to from Santiago, which that isn't his calling card always, but he did it against Ocampo, and both these men having some conversation for each other, and that's not the old we're friends cocktail party talk.
Round 5 looked like it could be a turning point in this fight, or perhaps the start of the breaking point of Javier Fortuna, as Alfredo Santiago is looking menacing as he creeps forward right now.
Pecking him with that jab. How long is that right eye gonna hold up for Fortuna? It looks pretty, I mean, it's closing.
Yeah, it is narrowing quickly.
And you mentioned the jab, as you well know, and you were a left-hander. Some right-handers don't use the jab enough against lefties. They somehow feel it's not going to work.
Right.
But Santiago's not falling into that trap.
No, it's working.
Yeah.
It's working for him.
Well, Claudia Trejos was just in the corner of Javier Fortuna. They're saying the eye is not a problem. It's the jab of Santiago that's giving them problems. In effect, they're one and the same.
Yeah,
the
right.
jab is the cause of the state of his eye.
Yeah.
And that was one of the keys for Santiago to pop that jab out there, use that long jab. He's been dictating the fight with a solid jab and setting up some good combinations, setting up his power shots. Here he comes. Santiago is feeling something.
Santiago just stalking Fortuna all around the ring.
They're talking to each other now, boy. I don't know what they're saying, but.
You know, I have to say, if you look at Santiago in his last 3 fights and look at the Santiago from before, I have to say he's right. Whatever Nelson Adams is doing with him, he's a better fighter. Correct?
Yeah,
Absolutely,
I mean, he's almost a completely different fighter.
Yeah. His confidence, too, has really grown.
Less than a minute left to go here in round 6. Santiago just keeps pecking away with the jab.
And this is a very difficult situation for Fortuna, who clearly is going to have conditioning issues as this fight wears on. He's not a huge power puncher at this division anyway, and here he is in front of this guy who's, you know, got everything left in the tank.
Well, Santiago, even though he isn't really unloading, is doing everything he wants to do right now. He has Fortuna at the end of his shots. He's making Fortuna move and work more than he wants to. And he has Fortuna under duress, and has for almost every second of this round.
I mean, this round, it was a buffet of jabs. He basically controlled this round with nothing with jabs. He kept picking him with jabs.
Well, coming up next Friday, Most Valuable Promotions will take its talents north of the border to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as the undefeated Lucas Body takes on the Philippines' Ryan James Racaza, live as part of your DAZN subscription here on the global home of boxing.
There's that big right hand, and then switch it up to an uppercut for Santiago, but Fortuna was able to get out of there using his veteran skills, and he's still shaking his head no. There's that solid jab. Santiago picking him apart with the jab, changing the directions of the jab. Fast jab, hard jab. He's in control now.
Well, We'll see if Santiago turns up the heat a little bit more in this round, as a mouse has clearly developed underneath the other eye of Javier Fortuna. And Santiago tumbles to the mat, not as a result of anything that Fortuna did offensively. So although Fortuna stressing that he is not having vision problems, he's certainly not at 100% in that department in either eye.
I'm laughing because they're talking to each other.
There's a full dialogue going on right now.
I want to know. I wonder if Glavin could find out what they're talking to each other. What they're saying to each other.
This is a full conversation.
And that was a shot that appeared to be low. Or Santiago certainly felt it was.
Sorry about that, my friend.
Well, Fortuna's trying to get him to come back and fight quicker, but you know, Santiago can take up to 5 minutes here.
Well, that suggests that perhaps this chatter is not as friendly as maybe we thought.
Yeah. Edgy. I think it's edgy.
Santiago goes immediately low.
Yeah.
Now the intensity picking up here in round 7. Nice shot there from Fortuna, and he places one right along the belt line of Santiago once more.
Man, I tell you what, you can't sleep on Fortuna. You can't take a round off. He's very tricky. He's definitely showing his veteran skills. That's what he's in the 7th round. I'm very surprised.
Right, that's a very good point. He wouldn't even be here if he didn't have those veteran skills because of the conditioning and all the rest of it.
By the way, Claudia Trejos has solved the mystery of what's being said. It is apparently a lot of Dominican stuff. I censored that a little bit.
All right, there you go. Thanks for putting a fine point on that.
Final minute here, round 7. See a smile on the face of Alfredo Santiago. I get a sense that they're kind of enjoying this banter and this playfulness as well.
In an odd kind of a way, yeah.
Santiago certainly enjoying it a lot more than Fortuna, as you could tell by the state of Fortuna's face.
Trying to taunt him. Look at Fortuna trying to taunt Santiago to come in. But he's controlling the distance there with the jab. He's picking the body, picking the head.
Well, Fortuna hasn't really counterpunched in the last minute.
Now he's talking to his corner. Saw Santiago talking to his corner. More Dominican.
Santiago toying with Fortuna right now. Beautiful combination. A nice left hook at the end of that one. And that'll do it for round 7.
On the inside here, the holding of Fortuna, and that was the low blow that created the stoppage in the action. And obviously that hurt Santiago. And then here was the gamesmanship by Fortuna, but it didn't get him too much because Santiago landed a jab and wasn't lured in to make any mistakes during that period. Many layers to this fight, interesting ones, not all boxing related.
Maybe they're arguing over where they're going for dinner after this.
It could be.
Are we going to Chili's? Round 8 underway.
And switching to lefty for the first time in this fight is Santiago.
I feel like Santiago's still telling him, I'm going to knock you out. I got 3 more rounds, and Fortuna's like being stubborn. Yes. No, you're not. You're not going to knock me out.
A defiant Fortuna maybe saying, hey, even 2 or 3 weight classes above my best. You're not going to get me out of there. I'm still the big bro in this relationship.
Fortuna has shown a really good chin. He's taking some big shots.
Yeah, and in general in his career he has.
Yes,
shot. Not there.
And down goes Fortuna. That was a short left hook. Fortuna says that he slipped.
You know, it was
Santiago hooked off the jab, and he landed something there.
Yeah, like a counter check hook, right?
Santiago certainly reacting as if he has Fortuna hurt. Fortuna glued to the ropes.
Santiago's got to push him off. He's going to keep holding. He's got to throw combinations so he won't hold as much.
Fortuna doing some uncharacteristic things. He tried that uppercut from way back, and he really easily could have been countered by Santiago. But desperation makes you do things like that.
Final minute of round 8. As Fortuna has tasted the canvas for the first time in this round. In the fight, excuse me.
Usually when a fighter is kind of surviving in a way, it's not an interesting fight. But even though Fortuna's been mostly surviving, even though he's shown some offense, it's been a fascinating fight.
Yeah, there's an edge and a character to this fight that goes beyond just the X's and O's of what's actually happening in the ring.
And now I think we're on the edge of our seats to say, can he knock him out in this fight?
Nice left hook there from Santiago, wraps it around the guard of Fortuna. Not helping matters on that narrowing eye of Fortuna as he tries to peek through his guard. And we will head to the corners with 2 to go in our co-main event. Being waved off. The Fortuna corner saving their fighter from further punishment. And Alfredo Santiago gets the TKO victory. Oh, it's dinner and dancing for Alfredo Santiago tonight.
And I think we can say appropriate corner work by doing that because Fortuna was taking punishment, and why not? This crowd loves it. One of their hometown guys, he's been living here in Fajardo, and they are all on board with Alfredo Santiago.
So Santiago adds a big name to his resume. After a fight that was maybe heavier on talking than it was on action, but nonetheless kept the fight interesting. The Fortuna corner making the correct call. No need for another two more rounds of that.
Yeah.
And there's the reality of their relationship, guys.
And even at that, Fortuna pretending to push him off and then hugging him. But you know what? Somebody could say, well, they're pals, whatever. They took it easy on each other. They didn't. Not in that fight.
No, they didn't.
They did not.
Hey, there's business in there, and they're trying to succeed in their career. You know, they want to move up.
Well, London will make history in April as it hosts Ring Magazine's first ever boxing card titled Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, headlined by the long-awaited grudge match between huge rivals Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn in a middleweight clash at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday, April 26th. Now that is an actual rivalry, guys, not like the one that we saw inside the ring here tonight. I don't think that Ben and Eubank are going to go for dinner after that fight.
Definitely not. No, I think we can safely say that. I lost a bet to Gil Clancy while we were doing the Barkley-Duran fight. He said they would hug at the end of the fight, and I said they wouldn't, and they did.
I feel like a lot of people lost bets on that Barkley-Duran fight in different ways.
Typically, if you're going to bet with Gil Clancy about something involving boxing, it's a fool's errand, so don't bet with him.
So a memorable homecoming for Alfredo Santiago.
Very important win for this young man. You know, at age 30, he's in a position, ranked in the, number 3, he's in a position to take a run at a world title and fighting at his best right now.
Looks like we are about ready to make this one official. And we will send it up to our MC, Mr. Throwdown, Pete Trevino.
Damas y caballeros, un aplauso por favor por los boxeadores en el centro del ring. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for both of the fighters in the center of the ring. This matchup has come to a halt at 1 second of the 9th round for your winner by TKO and still the WBO NABO Junior Welterweight Champion, Alfredo El Ojo Santiago.